canyon that you don't enter through this huge, how many saw Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? But that was all filmed in Petra. You can only go through this long, the river has cut this long sort of Grand Canyon between two sort of steep sides, and then when you get inside, it opens up into a kind of staging area with water and everything. And that's where the city was, so all the caravans could go in there and be protected from marauders. And the people of Petra would take a toll for having, given sanctuary and hospitality to the caravans, and they got rich there. And then they carved these cities out of the stone there. So it became very, very flourishing area between around the 3rd century BC to about the 3rd or 4th century AD. It was a very important commercial center and extremely rich and so on. And that was the end of the caravan trade. That Muhammad was probably participated. He probably went to Petra at some point if the stories are correct. In any case, Saba, which is in southern Arabia used to be called, is really also what the Jews are calling Sheba. And if you look at the people, I don't like to be racialistic, the physical characteristic, they're usually very small-boned, not very tall, wiry. You can always see someone from southern Arabia. There are Jews who come from there too. Now it's called Yemen, and you go to Palestine, you'll see Yemenite Jews, and they're all look very much the same like the people from southern Arabia, and also the people in Somalia and Eritrea. Of course, there's intermixing with African as well, but even though the coloring may be somewhat lighter or darker or whatever, the basic bone and physical structure are the same, and all those peoples are clearly related in their at least physical characteristics. So you can always recognize people from southern Arabia, Somalia, and these places. They look very much alike. For instance, they don't look like West Africans at all, and they just look different, and they have their own characteristics. I don't know who I can. You know who looks very much like that movie maker? What's his name? The guy who makes the movies about Malcolm X and
Spike Lee.
Spike. Yeah, he looks very much like that, and James Baldwin to a certain extent. People, that very small, wiry sort of very thin look, very much East African, Somalian, Southern Arabian look. I mean, I'm not saying that that's where he came from, just giving you that something of what the characteristics are. Like the guy who assassinated Rabin in Israel was a Yemenite, a Jewish person, and he looked exactly like that. That's exactly what he looked like from that area. So the Yemen, later on this became Yemen. Today it's called Yemen. You know why it's called Yemen? Well, when you're standing up in Mecca here, and you're standing up in Mecca here, and you look at the rising sun, then the right is where Yemen is. And the right in Arabic is what? Al-Yamin. So Yemen is on your right. Yemen is Al-Yamin. Yemen is Yemen because it's on the right side as you're looking at the rising sun when you're standing up here. So later it just became the right as opposed to the left. But in any case, yeah, Yemen is the right. But its original names were all these other names here. And Nicholson talks about that. So there is a Jewish presence here very early in the Sheba time, which is 10th century BC. There's a Jewish presence up here in the 5th century BC. So you're getting Jewish presence, not that that's the only presence, but Jewish influence, shall we say, in those areas very early on. And there's Jewish influence in Ethiopia, because there are even Jews from Ethiopia to this very day are being taken to Israel. And a lot of Jews came out of Yemen who were taken to Israel in 1948. There were Jews who survived there for, 3,000 years. They don't look like Jews from Russia, they look like Southern Arabians. And the Jews from Ethiopia look like Ethiopians. But that's neither here nor there. That shows that the presence was there. There was a presence. And one will see in our books here that there is a Jewish kingdom here in Southern Arabia right before the prophet. And Nicholson will tell you who the kings are. One of the kings is Asad Kamil, and he's in the 4th century, the 300s or 400s. And the last king is a king called Lu Nuwas. Now this comes not from Jewish sources, This comes from Arab song and story. And it tells that the Ibn Nawas rode his horse into the sea to escape the Byzantine army, the Christian army. And that was the year that the elephants came to Arabia. And what happened was that the Byzantine emperor heard that the Jews were flourishing in southern Arabia. The Byzantine Empire is Christian. And he was asked by Christian Ethiopian co-religionists to come and help. So he sent a Byzantine army, or financed a Byzantine army, we don't have all the details, it's very sketchy, down to Ethiopia. They crossed over and they chased the Jewish leadership, or whatever it was, in southern Arabia out, and for a while set up a Christian kingdom. Now, part of this activity, a century later, the Ethiopian elephants came to Mecca. All Muslims know this story, because what's the big event that occurs when the Ethiopian elephants come to Mecca? It's called the Year of the Elephant in the Quran. It takes place around the late 500s. This is the early 500s. Within 50, 75 years, they get as far as Mecca, north. And that's the year that Muslims date the birth of the Prophet. With the appearance of the Ethiopian elephants at Mecca, that is the year that Muslims date the birth of the Prophet. Well, we'll pick up there next time. Now, you guys think I wasn't getting anywhere, but I'll get there. I just want to give you as much information as you can handle to expand your